62 cards.
Ooh.
He couldn't find room for just 60 here.
He couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't find room for those other two. Apparently.
You can't contain this beast. You can only hope to stop it.
Wow.
And oh my god, look at this mana base. This mana base is awesome.
Oh my god, there's no 4-ofs in the mana base.
His mana base is, he has one island, he has one of each basic, and then 2 of every other land.
This is awesome.
This is awesome. I want this to, do we know the record here?
We'll find out the record.
Because if this is X and O, as Ben's taking a mulligan down to 6, this is going to be awesome. This is a deck builder's dream. Conley Woods, is that you? Did you get your hands on this, Conley?
He may very well have. I'm looking at Ben's list and trying to think of a better name than Blue, White, Red Control.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired.
Choi.
I'm getting a little tired of Blue, White, Red Control. Can't we do better than that?
Come up with some.
I think you should name it White, Blue, Red Control. Just switch those.
Come on.
But Ben is taking a mulligan down to 6. These players are both X and 1 right now. We're in round 7, so they are 5 and 1. They are both still in top 8 contention, and this should be a blast. I'm looking forward to this.
I can't wait to see how this goes. All right, Glacial Fortress from Tony Lay, turn 1. Hallowed Fountain from Ben.
Oh, we have a
Forest to go.
1-0 Forest.
I'm going to just go ahead and tell you guys the first few turns of these is just going to be land go.
Yeah,
land
there's
go.
not going to be a lot going on here.
Fast forward through this. Can we, Choi, fast forward a little bit? Choi, can you?
Now,
Well,
obviously,
tanking.
in any control mirror, one of the most important things always is make sure you hit your land drops just about every turn. I mean, it's pretty painful when you do miss, as we see a think twice here from Ben. So the goal, obviously, is to make sure that you can hit all of your land drops so that you can actually start casting your haymakers with either counter backup or being able to cast 2 spells in 1 turn is the key. So, as you said, it is going to be pretty boring to start, but if someone starts missing their land drops, that's bad news bears.
Oh, yeah. So, Ben, his land drop passed back. So far, no missed land drops. It is currently Tony's turn. Plays a Blood Crypt.
Blood Crypt, I'm done. Flashback think twice, sure. Undoing that mulligan.
Does he have a land drop? He does. Clifftop Retreat. Both players with all their colors right now.
We're going to see a Jace Architect of Thought trying to resolve, and it does. Factor Fiction time.
Finds Terminus, Pillar, and Steam Vents. So I don't think Tony cares about any of those cards.
Quick, Joey. Okay, that's how I was going to spell.
I was going to say, yeah, like that.
We don't know a single card in Tony's hand.
Yeah.
So he's going to take the 2 spells and not the lands. That means he probably has more lands in his hand. We saw at least 1 Hollow Fountain.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He has to discard
That's
there.
a risky discard, in my opinion.
Yeah. Tony plays a Swamp. Plays a Tameo. It is Planeswalker on Planeswalker. Tap the Jace. Tap the Jace.
Shut her down. All right, see you later, Sulphur Falls. Discarding lands, very dangerous.
He seems to have a few in hand. I think that's a Zendikar Plains. There it is, yeah. John Avon artwork there. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mana for
Detention Sphere?
a detention. Oh, it was just 3. I'm sorry. That's right. The 4th was the one that was tapped by Tameo. Jace ticks up. Detention Sphere takes out Tameo. And Ben passes back to Tony.
So now we have a mountain. Okay, we got a Detention Sphere there.
Detention Sphere, your Planeswalker.
Detention Sphere is
Oh, Detention, I drink your milkshake.
I drink it up. That is a nice Detention Sphere. Foil and foreign.
Wow, yeah. You ever notice the Azorius symbol is like the America Online symbol?
You've got mail.
You've got mail. I think I just got to say that every time, like an Azorius charm. You've got mail.
All right, so let's go.
Welcome. Goodbye. I guess that would be better for Azorius Charm when you're putting a creature on top.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, who's gonna miss their land drop first? That's the $1,000,000 question here.
You've Got Mail works a lot better with Geralf's Messenger, but there's no Azorius symbol on Geralf's Messenger.
Not yet.
Yet, that's right.
They'll print anything.
They sure will. Have you seen Angel of Serenity?
Unfortunately, I have. As Tony is the first one to miss his land drop of this match. And now we have Ben hitting his land drop, and just like it's just going to be land go. We know that Ben has a Terminus and a Pillar of Flame in his hand as well. Among the other collection of cards hiding out over there, we still have literally no clue what's in Tony's hand, but we do see an Entreaty Angels for 2 angels right now. See how
Does
Tony
it
feels.
resolve?
Let's see how Tony feels about that.
If he's got a Wrath effect, he's fine with that. Why waste a counterspell here where you can deal with the angels otherwise? So, think twice from Tony. And I think he's flashing back to think twice.
Yep.
Yes. So, draws 2 cards at the end of Ben's turn.
He actually doesn't have any counterspells in his main deck. The only way that he could have countered that card, oddly enough, is it Charm
Wow, yeah.
with the Spell Pierce mode.
Very interesting. So Tony facing down a Broodmate Dragon on the other side of the board.
But for how much longer?
Detention Sphere?
Yep.
Yep. Goodbye.
And we will see an Overgrown Tomb
That works too.
and a pass back. So let's see what Ben draws this turn. We've got a bunch of Detention Spheres in play. A ton of them. Oh, there's a Desolate Lighthouse. Now that's a game changer. And a Control Mirror, that is a huge game changer. Alright. We have some mana being tapped in the main phase.
Jace! Architect of Thought from Tony Lay.
That one's good.
Yeah, resolves, and we're going to see a Factor Fiction on this side. We got Dreadbore, we've got Sorin, and we've got Glacial Fortress. A black-white card, a black-red card, and a blue-white land.
This is gonna.
And the split
the
is...
Jace in this match is gonna be so good. You just can't predict what's coming off the top of the deck.
Dreadbore Glacial Fortress on one side, and that's what Tony takes. He puts the Sorin back on the bottom, says, I don't need another 4-mana Planeswalker. Go!
I will take a land, though.
Yeah.
Sphinx's Revelation on the end step for 5.
Is it Charm? What was that? Go ahead, draw some cards.
I don't care, draw 'em. I can beat that, I don't care.
Who cares?
Alright, 5. Pushing Ben up to 25. This is just going to be a battle of haymakers, back and forth and back and forth. The difference here is for Tony's 5-color deck, one of the... Oh, okay, he does have 2 Sphinx's Revelation. I was going to say he didn't have any, but he actually does have some in his deck, so...
So Pillar actually takes out Jace, which we knew the Pillar was there.
Yep.
Pillar takes out Jace. You know, I wonder if Tony tries to deck Ben.
As we see it's Tamiyo being cast here. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little hasty to go
At
that...
this point,
at
it's
this
a little
point,
early, yeah. But it was just something I'm thinking about. You know, we know this game's going to go long. That's a Forbidden Alchemy.
Yeah, a very juicy Dissipate target, if Ben has one, which he does not.
And Alchemy resolves. Look at the top 4. He says, I don't want any of these.
Yeah.
It did look like he was going to put them all at the bottom. Like it was the super preordained or something. Scry 4.
Draw 4.
Scry 4, draw 1. Well, looks like he's made his decision. Puts, can we get a zoom in on that, Choi?
I got a Blood Crypt, I got a Temple Garden, and I got a blue card.
It looks like maybe Snapcaster. Just trying to see the graveyards a little closer. Tony's graveyard. Pretty sure it's just Snapcaster, but
I'm almost positive you're correct. Our wonderful director will try to get a zoom in there for you guys at home. See if we can get a better look at that. And what do we have on this go around? We have a chromatic lantern.
Chromatic lantern.
Now I can do anything.
And it is
It is
Snapcaster.
Snapcaster range. Okay, perfect.
And in the meantime, Lantern has disappeared. I guess it was exiled from a dissipate.
Dreadbore, dissipated.
Was it? What happened to the Lantern?
The
Oh,
Lantern's
there it
just
is. There it
in
is.
his-
It's,
it's in his
back
row.
in his. I was looking out on the table where the rest of the permanents, non-land permanents were. So
Hallowed Fountain into play untapped. It looks like it only tapped for blue and white. But the Lantern says otherwise, as we see a Jace.
and a Fact or Fiction.
2, 3.
Selesnya Charm, 2 lands. Tony, take the 2 lands. What do you think?
I think it's... Selesnya Charm isn't very good right now, oddly enough. I guess lands
Takes
are
the 2
better.
lands.
Alright. I mean, hitting your land drops is, of course, very key. Control mirrors.
And all those lands tap for any color
That's true.
at the moment, until Ben is able to find, Shatter.
So what do we have here? Here we have a Devil's Play for 2.
And that'll take out the Jace.
Serves as a way to take out Planeswalkers in the mid to late game, and then acts as a win condition as well. Very versatile cards. We're going to see a Jace here from Ben revealing Azorius Charm, another Jace, and a Clip Chop Retreat.
So he separates the Jace from the Charm and the land, and Ben takes the Jace. So Ben right now with 2 Planeswalkers live, to Tony's nothing. I mean, unless you want to start counting up the Tension Spheres. Because there are 3 in play.
Okay, I was going to make sure you use that to me out. What are you going to pick? All right, shut down the Lantern. All right, Tony needs some action. It's been a battle of haymakers, back and forth and back and forth. The Woodland Cemetery comes in. What can he do to match what Ben is doing? That's a lot of mana.
Yes, it is. All but a swamp. He's like, Sphinx's Revelation and Duresio? Be a little out of order. But I don't know what the swamp is open for. Like,
Syncopate for 1 is the fear.
oh, sure. That makes sense. Okay.
He drew a lot of lands off of that Sphinx's Revelation.
Well, I guess he had to get him out of the way.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
So that was a 6-point life swing and, 6 cards.
Oddly enough, this is going to be a matchup where life is just really not very relevant.
Right.
Is what it's looking like
It's
to
actually
me.
more, yeah. I kind of wonder if one is going to deck the other at this point, now that we're seeing, dueling Sphinx's Revelations and Jaces and Forbidden Alchemies.
Yeah, it is actually that is actually like a lot more realistic now to see that sort of thing happen. Because looking at Ben's deck, he doesn't have a ton of win conditions. How many entreats does he have? He has 3. Okay, so Miracling an entreat actually just cuts someone's life total down incredibly quickly. So
Yeah, it could, the game could end real quick with a top-decked entreat that goes unanswered. So Ben is going to use up his Jace using Fact or Fiction. Shows Dissipate, Tamiyo, Steam Vents. Tony splits it with Tamiyo and the Steam Vents, and Ben takes the Dissipate. I like that. Tamiyo ticks up, keeps that swamp tapped now.
and we know Ben has another Jace in his hand that he can choose to cast, which
It looks like it's what's happening here.
looks like he's going to here.
And there it is. As exciting as Tony's deck is, I've not been too excited by what he's been playing so far. Like he hasn't done a whole lot. I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, this deck has the potential to stumble around a little bit.
So Pillar and Terminus separated from a Think Twice. Think Twice goes to the bottom.
Alright, so Tony, your turn, my friend. You got to beat a Dissipate now too, as we see a Drowned Catacomb come into play.
And a Jace, just to take out the other Jace.
And Tony,
And
Ben
it
says,
resolves.
okay.
Yeah. Got my cards, dealt with your Jace. made you pay 4 mana.
That's fine with me. I'm gonna see a flashback, I think, twice at the end of the turn.
Yes.
Going through his deck like wildfire, Ben is.
Both of them are, but yeah, it does seem like Ben's a little deeper.
Yeah, it seems like Ben is just seeing more cards by a lot.
Tameo ticks up to 8.
Tap that lantern. We see some discarding, it looks like discarding of Terminus. And we're going to see a Selesnya Charm making a 2/2 at the end step.
Tony's like, all right, I think I'm going to take 13 attack steps to kill you. No?
I'm going to whittle away at that Tameo.
Yeah, I think that's more likely the plan he has in mind.
Not going to do a great job of it, but I'm going to make an attempt at least.
Right, keep him off ultimate. That's relevant enough. I believe it resolved. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
There's our
So Nikki Casterman's on Twitter says that Lantern Control deck better have Door to Nothingness in it. And at this point, I think a top deck Door to Nothingness would be pretty good.
It would be necessary. I mean, there is a Tameo in play keeping it tapped.
Sure.
Which is unfortunate, but... So let's see what's going to happen here. Is he going to be able to get in with 2? Another thing twice. Boop. No miracle. Old Desolate Lighthouse. Just a card that has not seen as much play as it should.
Yeah, well, Ben's going to
Think twice
flashback, think twice.
Can't miracle that time. Alright, let's go down to 6.
That's something.
Tony just says go, which is kind of a disappointment. But as I said earlier, he did draw a lot of lands off of that Sphinx's Revelation.
Did you see, well, Pillar for the dude. Okay. A turn too late, but Tameo ticking back up. Flores actually wrote an article about a Door to Nothingness deck. It was on Friday. Pretty interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it's good, but it looks like fun. Sure. I think that's pretty much what he says in it. You know, it may have it's something to think about. Go read the article.
So we're going to see a Think Twice here in response to Jace. Architect of Thoughts. It looks like we're going to see it flashback. Draw a gooder. Boy.
So 2 cards off of Think Twice. And Jace resolves, and here's 3 more cards. Dissipate 2 lands. Ben takes a Dissipate. Yeah.
There's one more Dissipate. That's what that is. Getting Tony he's getting him into a pretty hard lock now. Planeswalker's rolling, Dissipates in hand. He's going to be able to get him to the point where Tameo's going to be able to ultimate and just start dissipating over and over and over and again. We might even see something cool like Jace get bounce back from the graveyard because it's Tameo as well.
Right. All
Tough
right.
spot for Tony to be in.
Tony looks like he's going to try to resolve. Oh, it's a Sorin. Thought he was going to go for another Jace, just to get rid of Ben's Jace. Sorin resolves?
Yeah.
Sorin resolves. Makes a buddy.
The way this seems to be going for Ben, I honestly don't think he cares very much about Sorin and the 1/1 vampire that it's making. If he cared with it, if he cared about it, he would have dissipated it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't think he forgot that he had Dissipate in his hand.
I like to believe he didn't.
Oh yeah, Dissipate. Well, now I think he remembered.
That's a good target for that.
Niv Mizzet on the stack. Dissipate says, I think that Dissipate just wagged its finger like it was a Syncopate for a second. It's like, no, not Niv Mizzet.
So Ben.
I really like Ben's deck.
I do too, actually. It reminds me of the Legacy Miracles deck quite a bit. This looks like a detention sphere to me. Yeah, that's what I figured. A lot of detention spheres in play.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little wall in no man's land of detention spheres. It's like, here's this battlefield, and this area in the middle is just detention spheres all over the place. Don't step on a detention sphere. Huh?
Pretty much.
The Planeswalkers don't care because they're just casting spells right over top of them.
It seems like for this particular game, we are one Entreaty Angels away from this one being pretty close to over. At least that's what it feels like to me.
Sure. I'm wondering what Tony's plan is. Is he just trying to see more of the deck? I think he's pretty much got an idea of what Ben's playing, I hope.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah. I don't know what his plan is to win here. He knows Ben has more dissipates. Tamiyo's about to go ultimate. If he can't find an answer here, and even if he finds an answer, it's just going to get dissipated. I mean, I would love to see some sort of game plan executed by Tony. It'd be very interesting.
If there is one to be executed.
Yeah. Looks like he's flashing back a Forbidden Alchemy.
Alright, Niv.
Or not. That's, I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. The Niv Mizzet out there is exiled. That's not his graveyard. Forbidden Alchemy's on top. Looks like he was counting up some mana here, so. Alright, so Niv Mizzet on the stack is being faced with another Dissipate. So this matchup's all about Niv Mizzet versus Dissipate. And
is it Charm?
Is it Charm? Draw 2 discards. So the careful study mode of Is It Charm from Tony Lay. Couldn't tell what he discarded. Looked like lands. But whatever it was, did not find an answer. So Dissipate takes out Niv Mizzet.
Discard 2 lands, yeah.
Ben off the top, not an Entreat the Angels.
I'm not sure if I'm pretty much with you, Joey. It's like this game is like basically over, or as close to over as it can really be without being over. Mm-hmm. You know, like a card like Is It Charm, where Tony only has one of them, and it's a unique card to have in your deck. I'm not really sure I want to show my opponent that in game 1 in a game I'm basically losing.
Sure. Although, on the other hand, you're only playing it as a one-of. You show it to him, and he plays around it all game 2 or something.
There is that as well.
You know, and you don't even ever draw it because it's a one-of. So, Tamiyo went ultimate.
We saw Pillar of Flame get cast, and it can be machine gun mode.
And
how about Entreat the Angels for me? Is that okay?
Yeah, Jace finds Entreat.
Now Pillar can start doing in between 6 to 8 points of damage every turn. There's an Entreat. I'm gonna make a 1/1. Make 1 or 2 4/4s.
Leaves up 5. Pillar.
Gun.
So.
See, I was kind of under the impression that there was a chance that if Ben was relying on the Entreat the Angel tokens, Supreme Verdict can kind of, way trump that. Mm-hmm. But with the Pillar machine gun being available, I don't think there's any hope.
Yeah, at this point, I guess Tony's just trying to think what he can do to get out of it. He's got maybe another turn. He's going to get knocked to 10. And does Ben have 5 red swords? Oh, he's got a Terminus! Wow!
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I think Ben just tossed his angels off the table entirely.
Okay, they're dead.
But, okay. Do we have 9 red sources on Ben's side? I don't think so. I think he's got 4. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? I just see 4.
Yeah, there's just 4.
So that'll, well, ping. Yeah. He has still a mountain over there. Did you forget about that one? No, he wants to use it. Okay.
I don't think you forgot.
No, he's using it for something else, like Devil's Play. I like how he acted like he was Devil's Playing multiple times. Yeah. I think it was just like one Devil's Play, and yes, it comes back to your hand. So Ben Johnston casually takes game 1 in interesting fashion. Tamiyo emblem, Pillar Flame, Devil's Play. Look at that. Yeah, you see that face? That's good. Mild-mannered Ben Johnston melting faces with his blue deck.
Oh, pardon me. Something stuck in my throat. But this is the second time that we've seen.
Tony Lee just like, oh my gosh.
This is the second time we've seen Tamiyo go ultimate today on camera after like never seeing it happen, at least for me, like ever. And once that card goes ultimate, it seems like it's borderline impossible to beat it. It's just too much value.
Yeah. You can beat it. It just kind of you basically. Your opponent needs to have like no cards in hand, you know what I mean? And like they went ultimate
anything.
and they're like drawing lands. They don't really have any other permanents. They're like Tamiyo ultimate, and you're like okay, and then they're like nothing to ever come back.
Yeah. Looking at Tony's sideboard, and you can only imagine what's in his sideboard.
Does he have door to nothingness?
No door.
Okay, how about Nico Bolas Planeswalker?
Yes.
Yes.
He does have that.
Does he have? Wait, let me forget. A Johnny Caller, the Pride.
False.
Oh man.
Does he have
Liliana the Dark Realms?
No, but
Liliana the Veil.
He does have that one. Yes.
Okay.
He also has
Tybalt. Does he play Tybalt?
No Tybalt. Dang. No Tybalt. Does he have the spicy meatball that has Reverberate? Yes.
Ooh.
And it could do some work here. Oddly enough.
Yeah. So he's got a Reverberate, a Jace Memory Adept, a Rack. I mean, he could just bring his whole sideboard in. I mean, because he could just Yeah. No, he could. He's got 2 Thragtusks. 2 Slaughter Games. He's got tons of one-ofs. That's great. Like 2 Rakdos Charm, 1 Golgari Charm, 1 Ultimate Price, 1 Supreme Verdict, 1 Liliana, 1 Nico Bolas, 1 Curse of Death's Hold. You definitely want the Rakdos return. You probably want the Jace Memory Adept. You probably want the Reverberate. You probably want the Liliana the Veil.
Nico Bolas.
You'll want the Nico Bolas.
2 Slaughter Games probably as well.
Sure, yeah. That's
probably just take out some sort of Planeswalker. Maybe Tamiyo, maybe Jace.
Sorin. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not very impressed with Sorin.
Not in this match.
Yeah, definitely not in
I
this
like
match.
Sorin. I play with Sorin in Esper. But it's mostly because he's blocking all the creatures that I'm being attacked with. But in this particular matchup, that doesn't seem to be...
There will be no blocking.
Yeah, that's not really happening. So, on Ben's side of the board, he's got 2 copies of Jace Memory Adept as well, which I imagine he will bring in.
That's a popular one this week.
Yeah, it's a good board card, you know. Just in these games that go along, you just get a couple activations of that Mill 10 ability against a deck that's already digging so deep with Sphinx's Revelations, etc. So you got 2 Jace Memory Adept, 2 Negate. That may be enough. He could try to steal a game with Geist of St. Traft. He's got 4 of them, but I don't think that's the plan I'd want to do if I'm Ben, because I want to play Geist to deal with Geist.
Yeah.
And
I would try that. I would try that plan if I were on the play against this deck.
Sure, yeah.
Since he's on the draw, however, I don't
agree,
like that. Yeah.
So,
or if time becomes of the essence, if this game finishes with about, 5 or less minutes,
sure,
you can board into the Geist plan, try to steal one.
He's got Purify the Grave, Erase, Supreme Verdict, Geist, as I mentioned. I don't really think you need to bring any of those in. I mean, maybe Purify the Grave.
We only saw 2 Snapcaster Mages.
Yeah, so it's not even that. I don't think it's that impressive. So I think you can just go with the Jaces and the Negates. Your deck's set up pretty well.
It seems like Ben's deck is set up very well to beat Tony's.
Yeah, I really like Ben's deck. This is the kind of blue-white-red deck that I was sort of envisioning when I early in the format. We saw like Todd Anderson playing blue-white-red Miracles. This isn't really far off from that.
No, I would agree. Not very far off at all. A little bit of difference, but nothing major.
I mean, he obviously leans on Miracles. He's got 4 Terminus, 3 Entreat. I don't even think he needs doesn't really need the Terminus. Those are 4 cards he could just straight up board out for the Negates and the Jaces. But maybe you keep 1 in, just to keep him honest, kind of thing.
As Tony is taking a mulligan to 6 here.
You saw, I was going to say, like, Pillar doesn't seem that impressive, but you saw, actually, Pillar did some work that game where he was taking out Planeswalkers. Like, Tony resolved Jace, got 1 activation, and then Pillar.
And pillared it, yeah.
Yeah, and you saw that, I think, happen twice.
And then it kind of acted as a win condition, too.
Yeah, for sure. So, as good as Pillar is against aggro, it's actually pretty good against Planeswalkers, and if you have, an ultimate Tamiyo, a Tamiyo emblem, Pillar seems good then, too, I guess.
I don't think it's... it's not great. Like, if there's nothing else to sideboard out, you're okay with leaving it in.
Yeah. that's kind of how I feel about this particular situation. I don't think he needs to bring that much in. I think you bring in the 2 Jaces, you bring in the 2 negates, you side out maybe all 4 terminus, maybe just 3, and then like 1 pillar, leave in 2.
Yeah, I
something
think,
like that.
If you can maybe, I don't know. Pillar seems like it's weird because like it does do a really nice job of killing Jace.
Yeah,
it does like a really nice job of it because you want to factor fixture on away. What's the point in plus one really? And then you want to get your card or cards, and then Pillar just takes care of it, which is like a pretty good exchange.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I'm saying, leave in 1 terminus, and I'm more doing that to hedge on what Tony might bring in because we know, and all Ben saw was Snapcaster, Niv Mizzet. That's all. He saw 2 copies of Niv Mizzet, and I believe he saw both Snapcasters. So obviously Terminus, he didn't see any kind of entreat happening from Tony's side of the board. So, he's not. I don't think he's that scared of Selesnya Charm to bring in Terminus. So I don't think it's more about what he thinks Tony might sideboard. And at this point, facing against a 5-color control deck, it could be anything.
It could.
So maybe leaving 1 out to like some sort of creature onslaught, even just Geist of St. Trap.
Yeah, that's the card I was going to bring up. Yeah, if he's the kind of person who's going to board in 4 Geist of St. Trap and try to catch people off guard because my 5-color deck can do anything.
Right.
It's perfectly reasonable to bring in some sort of hedge. Unfortunately for Tony, he's mulling down to 4 right now, which is going to make it very hard for him to win in a matchup that I think is already slanted somewhat in Ben's direction, but mulling to 4 in a control mirror makes it that much easier for the blue-white-red control deck to win. It's going to have to be a mighty good 4.
He's smiling, and that looks like a I kept 4 lands.
Yeah.
Well, if he kept 4 lands, it's really not that bad. So far,
I mean, if I was mulling to 4, that's what I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Just 4 lands. Hopefully I can just cast my spells that I draw.
So, land go. And,
There's 3.
Ooh,
okay.
he found Chromatic Lantern,
dagger.
which gets negated. Okay. So, Chromatic Lantern, gone. It was a 4-land hand, by the way. We have a confirmation from a judge. Hallowed Fountain into play tapped for Tony. Azorius Charm, end of turn. Ben Johnston draws a card.
Can trippin'.
Can't rippin'.
And
Geist of St. Trap.
that was a card that we thought you might bring in.
Yeah, I thought it was possible. I didn't think it was what he wanted to do, and you were saying like being on the draw. But he decided he did. And it could work out real well for him considering his opponent mulligan into a 4-land hand.
Oh.
We're going to find out pretty shortly. So, Ben Johnston in for 6 with Geist of St. Traft and his Guardian Angel.
Another play.
Ricky Lynn and John Soretta. Your event is starting. Please come up to the
Well, Tony hasn't missed a land drop yet.
Yeah, lands are not the problem. Now it's spells that we need to draw.
And Geist and Angel. Here they come. Tony at 8. Unless he has a response here.
What's funny is Tony could have spells in his hand that he just can't cast.
Sure.
Like Niv Mizzet.
Yeah, off the top, he finds, I don't know. Plays a mountain.
This is a spell that looks like he can cast.
Rakdos is return you. And dissipate. And Tony's going to be at 2 here. Does Ben have the pillar? Attack. Here at 2. Show him the pillar. Do you have the pillar? I guess not.
No pillar here.
Slow rolled pillar. Oh, Jace.
Oh, just this guy.
How about I try to kill you on 2 angles? Mill you for 10.
Mill you, I'll draw.
Snapcaster off the top, which would have been a nice draw for Tony because he could have blocked the Geist.
Yeah, but the Angel in the air.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. That would have been a good draw earlier.
Yeah.
A couple turns ago. Best he could have done there is...
He's knocking.
Yeah, he didn't even want the Snapcaster. Land,
Glacial
and there it
Fortress.
is. Wow. Control mirror ends with 15 minutes left to spare. How about that?
I am slightly surprised by such a result, but
Ben Johnston takes the match. I mean, he was the only one playing in game 2, to be fair. So
that's definitely true.
yeah, and he did have the Geist to capitalize on it. Now, that's one of the things, like, you think, like, if Tony had kept a 7-card hand that was reasonable, that Geist might not have been so impressive. And on the other hand, if Ben hadn't boarded in the Geist and Tony had the same situation, Tony would have had a lot more time to get into that game. Sure. So it's kind of interesting.
I mean, the blue-white-red control deck seems like it's, you know, very focused on what it's trying to accomplish. And that's one of the things I think that Tony's deck lacks.
Well, he just wanted to do everything, and he kind of could.
Yeah. In a way he could, and in a way he couldn't.
Yeah.
Is the thing. Whereas blue-white-red control, it's very clear what it does well, and how it goes about accomplishing those tasks.
I'm pretty impressed with both of these lists, actually. I mean, I like Ben's a lot just because it's a little more focused, as you mentioned.
And Tony's deck is very cool. I mean, and it's obviously worked for me because he was 5-1 coming to this round.
So here we've got Christian Flodrum Sconce. There we go. I'm just gonna. So it's Christian versus Gabriel Womack, who we saw a couple rounds ago.
Yep.
And this is Junk versus Humans, and this match is tied up at the moment with on board on Gabriel's side. We've got Silverblade Paladin. Does not appear to be soul bonded in anything, but we could be wrong on that. Athalia and what's it called? Captain.
Oh, Champion of the Parish.
Oh, Champion of the Parish. That's what it was. I was like, not Captain, Champion. Yeah, Champion of the Parish.
Which is just now becoming 4/4 from looks like another champion coming into play.
Yeah. And on the other side, we've got the foil to the Knight of Glory.
And it looks like we have
A Lotleth Troll.
Christian down to 5, and Gabriel applying a ton of pressure, and hoping to get Christian dead before he can stabilize, basically.
Both Knight of Glory and Knight of Infamy in Christian's deck.
And what you're going to find is the Silverblade Paladin is now bonded to the Champion of the Parish that just came into play this turn. Five is a small amount of life walking into this game. Must have been quite the beatdowns early.
Yeah, looks like Christian may be stabilized at some point, but is now in a bit of trouble. I mean, he does have a pro-white guy, but there are 4 white dudes on the other side of the board, so can't block all of them.
And some of them are large, and some of them have double strike.
Yeah.
So Knight of Glory, not Knight of Glory, I'm sorry.
Knight of Infamy?
Knight of Infamy is trying to do a fantastic job of holding down the fort, but it's looking pretty tough. It looks like he's just going to pass the turn back. All right. A little bit of a reluctant passing of the turn.
Christian just passes back with no play. No land drop, no play.
That's a surprise.
Just must not. I wonder if he's got something, you know, that costs 5 in his hand. He's sitting there waiting for the 5th land. He very well could have Thragtusk. He could have a Vraska. I don't know that he'd leave the Vraska in here, but
Thalia could also be causing.
Issues
trouble.
Too, yeah. He could have a Sever the Bloodline and waiting for a
feeling of dread.
I think Christian's having a feeling of dread right now.
He's going to have to pay 1 more mana for the feeling of dread because of Thalia. But it looks like we're going to radio that down to the judge, and This looks like this is going to be attacked for a significant amount of damage.
So, I mean, isn't that lethal? Unless Christian has
lethal,
something, yeah. Pays the extra for the feeling of dread there off of Thalia. And
Okay.
do you have some? Okay, paying 3, is this like an ultimate price or something? It's
Abrupt
an
decay.
abrupt decay. Okay, that'll take out the bigger champion of the parish.
Okay, so this is an attack for 4.
Yeah,
Thalia's gonna get 2 across.
champion's gonna
will
double
get-
strike for 2.
Champion will get double strike, get 2 across. Silver Blade will bite it. All right.
All right.
Christian at 1 life. Can't take any